Hey there, YouTube yogis. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and today I'm going to take you through a 30-minute yin yoga sequence for the late summer meridians. So in traditional Chinese medicine, which informs yin yoga, late summer is associated with the stomach meridian and the spleen meridian, which these two meridians run along the front side of the body, the side body, and then a little bit into the insides of the legs too. And both of these meridians start at the feet, so we're going to begin right away in toe squat. So you'll come around into tabletop pose, and then from table you're going to tuck your toes under and send your hips back towards your heels. So I'm walking my hands back in front of my knees. And you might do this as well. You might be able to walk your hands onto your thighs. But remember, in yin yoga, we're holding poses for about 3 minutes per pose. So if this already feels really intense to you, maybe you start here. And remember, you can always take a break. And then if you want to increase the intensity over time, then you walk your hands up. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe close your eyes. Soften your jaw. Begin to notice your breath. And the season of late summer is also associated with a time of transition. It's these days between the height of summer and the waning energy into autumn. And so even if you're not practicing this during the late summer months, like August and early September, you might be experiencing your own time of transition. And these yin yoga poses are also going to support you during that time by connecting to the stomach meridian and the spleen meridian. You're connecting to these grounding earth energies, which are super supportive during times of transition. Notice if there's anywhere else that you could soften now. And taking our last couple of breaths here, in and out through the nose. And then you'll inhale, come forward into tabletop pose again. Untuck the toes, bring the tops of the feet to the mat. And then send your hips back to your heels again. Walk your hands in front of your knees. Again, you might stay here, or you might be able to walk your hands up onto your thighs. And then if you have some more mobility and flexibility in the fronts of the ankles, you might be able to lean back onto your hands and lift the knees away from the ground. And we're only going to hold this pose for about 30 seconds, just a few breaths really. And exhale, walk your hands back forward into tabletop pose. And from here, you can just lean over onto one hip and take a seat facing the longer edge of your mat. So if you do have some pillows, blankets, a bolster even, you might bring that near your mat and sit up on that support if you have it, but if you don't have it, that's totally okay. I'm not using one. Extend your legs out wide, wider than the width of your hips. It doesn't need to be as wide as what I'm doing here. Soften the muscles of the legs, and we're going to come into Dragonfly, which is just a seated forward bend with the legs wide. So you are going to start to walk your hands forward, and then let the upper body be heavy. Allow for your spine to round naturally. Tuck the chin in towards the throat. Let the head be heavy. It doesn't matter how close to the ground you are, because once again, we'll be holding this pose for several minutes. And so you are just letting gravity do the work. Feel as your edge slowly starts to shift forward. Allow your breath to be steady. Trying to take even inhales and exhales out through the nose. And the emotion in traditional Chinese medicine that is associated with times of transition or the late summer season is these emotions of worry and anxiety. So if you think of your life like a garden, during spring, you're sowing the seeds of your intentions. In the summer, you're harvesting all of the fruits of your labors. But then as we start to move towards autumn, we're getting closer to the final harvest of the year. And with that can bring some feelings of anxiety and uncertainty. What will come during the months of winter? Do we have enough to support ourselves? And so the support system for those feelings of maybe scarcity, uncertainty, is nourishment and grounding, connecting to what you have in this moment and nourishing yourself with all that is available to you. If you're in a time of transition, maybe this is your nourishment. Just taking some time to slow down and breathe, to open up your body slowly and mindfully. Start to notice if you could let go a little bit more now. Let gravity be heavier. Take another breath in. Exhale slowly, press into your hands. Start to lift the upper body away from the floor. Lift your head, walk your hands back through to upright. And then from here, you can use your hands underneath your knees to help bring them in. Lean over to one hip, make your way back around into table, and we'll set up for the next pose, which is going to be Swan pose. Starting on the left side, slide your left knee forward behind the left wrist, turn the left toes to point slightly towards the right. Walk your right knee back to a degree that's comfortable. Again, if you have pillows nearby, if you have a block, a bolster, you can prop that underneath the hips or underneath the hands. You can stay uplifted here, or maybe it would feel better in your body today to melt towards the ground. Bringing the elbows down. You can release the weight of your head here as well. And so this pose is getting into those stomach meridian lines, but also affecting a little bit of the liver meridian and the kidney meridian. So these are more cooling energies. So if you're in a hot climate this summer, this late summer season, you feel nice to bring in those cooling yin energies. Soften the hips. Come back to your breath. Make sure that you're not clenching the jaw or furrowing your brow, holding tension in the face. Soften even those tiny little muscles. Let go of any worry or anxieties. Be in flow with the changes of nature. It's completely natural to feel afraid of change, but also change itself is the natural way of life. Take another breath in and let it out. Start to lift your head if you had let it be heavy. Slide your hands under your shoulders, prop yourself up here. And you have a couple of options. You can start to walk that right knee in and then slide the left knee back. Maybe you kick back through the heel, straightening out that leg. Maybe you also take a brief downward facing dog, walk out through the backs of the legs, shift the hips side to side. Just get the blood flowing on that side of the hip again. And then you can lower your knees down, and we're just going to make our way right over to the other side. So slide your right knee forward behind your wrist, turn your toes to point towards the left, and then walk the left knee back. Let the hips be heavy, maybe onto a pillow, a bolster, a block. Maybe you stay lifted up tall here, getting lots of space in the front of the body, or you lower down into your swan pose. Again, you can let the head be heavy. Just using the arm bones to support you. Using as little muscle as possible. Maybe not any muscle at all here. Trying to let go completely. Be open to the changes and the shifts that will happen over the next several minutes as you hold this pose. breathing all the while. Take another breath in. Exhale, start to release, lifting the head. Prop yourself up onto your hands. Walk that left knee forward a couple of times. And slide the right knee back. You can press back through the heel, straighten out the leg, get a stretch. Maybe come back into that downward dog. Stretching out through both legs, reaching the hips up high. Not using as much muscle in this downward dog, just enough to get a stretch. And then exhale, lower down. And from here, walk your knees forward closer to the top of your mat. And then have your knees about hip width distance apart. You can widen your feet to the edges of the mat and then see if you can sit your hips back towards your heels and actually between your heels. So if you cannot do what I am doing here, you do not have to. You can instead grab a pillow or a bolster and then lay down and bring the pillow or bolster underneath your lower back and extend your legs long for like an extended supported bridge pose. I know that saddle pose, our next pose, is not appropriate for everyone's knees, so I just want you to know that you do have an option. But if you are able to sit down between your heels, your toes might point back, or for some people it feels better to let the toes point outward like what I'm doing here. And then you can either lean back onto your hands. You could bring some pillows or a bolster behind you to lay down on if you have them. But if you don't, you're just going to start to sink into the support of the arms, maybe even come down onto the elbows, or maybe eventually all the way down to your back. And so once again, I know that this is not very nice in everybody's body. It can be a really intense pose, so especially if you're feeling pain in the knees or a pinching sensation in the lower back, go ahead and just lay down onto a flat back and then lift your hips up into something like a bridge, bring something under the hips and lower the hips onto that support. That pose will give you the same effect as this pose. It just has a little bit more accessibility, a little bit more space. Your hands can rest wherever you're comfortable, maybe letting them rest over the belly. You want to be able to soften your muscles as much as possible in every pose. So if you still feel yourself working, putting in a lot of effort to be here, try to soften. Maybe change the way that you're showing up in the pose to accommodate for your body today. And so if you're in this saddle pose with me, start to bring your hands to your heels, and then you'll press into your heels, dig your elbows into the ground to start to come up, and then support yourself with your hands as you come all the way back up, and then slowly lift your hips and release one leg at a time out in front of you. If you're in a supported bridge, you basically just reverse the way that you came into the pose, pressing into the feet, lift the hips, move the prop out of the way. And then we'll all lay back down to a flat back, extending the legs long, coming into banana pose, our last pose before Shavasana. Walk your feet and your heels over to the left. Walk your head and shoulders over to the left so you're creating an arc or a C shape with your body. And you can have your arms resting beside you, or maybe you reach your arms up overhead, holding on to your right wrist with your left hand, or maybe just opposite elbow with opposite hand. Breathe into your right side body. Feel the space you're creating through the right side, from the right foot all the way to the right arm and hand. And also the opening you're creating through the front of the chest. Notice if there's anywhere else you could soften now. Take another breath in through the nose and out. Start to release your arms down if you had brought them overhead. Walk head and shoulders to center. Walk the feet to center and take a pause before we go to the other side to feel the effect of that pose. When you're ready, you can make your way to the other side. Maybe you cross the right ankle over the left. As you bring the head and shoulders over to the right, maybe you reach your arms up and hold on to your left wrist with your right hand, or maybe again the opposite elbow with opposite hand. Breathe into your left side. Soften on the exhales. Take another breath in. Use your exhale to slowly unwind back to center. And from here, we'll just come into a brief Shavasana to let your nervous system receive all of the benefits of this practice and to return to a feeling of equilibrium and safety. If your low back is feeling sensitive, you can always bring the soles of the feet to the mat. I'll take that option today. And let the weight of your legs go. Let the weight of your head go. Melt everything into your mat. And I'll let you know when it's time to start to make your way out. Enjoy your Shavasana. Start to come back to your breath. Start to wiggle fingers and toes. Bring some movement back into your body. And keeping this calm awareness that you've cultivated, roll over to your right side. Use your bottom arm like a pillow. Pause in this in-between space. On an inhale, you can press down, extend your top leg, make your way back up to a seat. And whenever you get into your seat, sit up tall. Notice the impact of your practice on you. As you're ready, bring your palms together in front of your heart space, Anjali Mudra, and we'll close by bowing our heads, taking a breath in and out. So thank you for joining me for today's practice. If there's anything in your life going on that is having you feel a little ungrounded, I hope that you feel a little bit more stable and secure from this practice. You can return to this practice at any time of transition, whether it's seasonally or a season of life that's transitioning. If you enjoyed this practice, please subscribe to my channel. I put out a new class every Sunday. And let me know how you liked the class down below. Feel free to leave any suggestions in the comments, and I will go ahead and see you next week. Thank you again. Namaste.